I created all these great banners for us and I don't have them. Oh, there they are. Okay. So what we want to incorporate this week is, what is your super sense? Okay. So for some of you, hopefully when you did your homework, you realized, whoa, I feel things, I hear things, I see things. If you didn't determine that, that's okay. We can still move forward, because that's kind of something, it could take a lifetime to learn. It can take a minute, a day, an hour, a year. There's no rush. The only reason why I'm asking you to focus on that and why it's so important is because that sense, that super sense, is what's going to drive you, bring you to your manifestation. That's what's going to lead you to your manifestation. Okay. If you hear, if you see, that's how you're going to know what's coming, where you want to go, and what that's going to look like. You're going to see it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you're going to see it like bam. It's in your super sense is subtle. Okay. It's subtle. It's something that just kind of whispers in your ear, or you gently kind of see, like you might be going about your day. And if you see things, all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, that's weird. I just had like this vision of me did it over here, doing this or doing that. Okay. So, we are going to incorporate our super sense into our prayer and asking. Now, again, if you don't know what your super sense is yet, that's okay. That's okay. It's going to come. Everybody has probably written out or journaled what they want, right? But I want us to get more specific. So our first week, this week, is our ask. And so we're going to write it out. But this write out is going to be different. It's going to be not about words, not about specifics, okay? Instead, my phone's ringing. I don't know why. Let me do that. Instead, it's not about words. It's not about specifics, right? This is about feeling. So I want you to write out what you feel like you want your life to be, okay? And for some of you, that feeling might be a visual. Okay. It might be you see this home, you see this family, you see yourself in this certain job, and that's okay. Because if your super sense is seeing, that may be why you're a very visual person. And so that may be why when I say, what are you feeling? You might go, oh, well, it's what I see. And that's okay. There's nothing, you can't mess this up. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to write out exactly what it is what you feel your life to be, and what you feel like you want your life to be. All right. And so it doesn't matter if it makes sense, like if you can read it verbatim. It's more of this feeling, like I feel myself working outside. I feel myself in a, or working in a group environment, or I feel myself, you see what I'm saying? It's not something very specific, because once we start to get specific, now our mind is jumping in, our logic is jumping in, and it's saying, do this is smart, do that, this is not smart, or don't do this or don't do that. And I don't want our mind to be playing a role right now. I want this to be something that you feel. This is why manifestation hasn't worked for you before, because you're not coming from your super sense or your gut, your intuition, okay? You're coming from a logical place. And logic, it creates security. It creates a false sense of fear, or a false sense of safety, or a false sense of security, because our mind dictates, okay, if you do this, this will make sure that you're okay, or if I do that, then I'll be safe. And I don't want us to be safe right now. I want us to feel what it is we want our life to be like. So even if you're manifesting 2021, everything about your life is great, you're just wanting a relationship. What does that relationship feel like? Okay, not look like. I don't want you to visualize yourself walking down the street with that person, or I want you to think about what that feels like for you. I want you to feel that relationship. And notice what comes up, because for some of you, what might come up is this feeling of dread or feeling of fear, insecurity. Great. That's what I want you to feel. That's not what we want to manifest. But now we can look at why it's taken us a while to find that perfect relationship. Oh, look what just came up for me. I went to visualize what I thought was a happy, relationship that I was moving towards, and instead what actually came up was dread or fear, insecurity. That's great. That's why this exercise is so important, because it's getting to the truth of what you really want and what you actually are capable of creating. Okay. So using that same example of what you want to manifest is relationship, and you realize that when you sit and feel what that relationship will feel like, what comes up is anxiety or fear or dread, or any combination, you are then needing to work on relationships for you. Okay. Maybe before you step into your next one, we need to work on that. That's something that we can talk about later. But the truth is, now you know your truth. Your truth is, if you were to start manifesting from this point, you're going to be manifesting a relationship that causes dread or fear and anxiety. Okay. So we're trying to get to the truth of who we are, what we want, so that we can genuinely manifest what we genuinely want from a really honest place. Okay. So you're going to write out what is, let me show you this. We're going to write out what it is you want after you have experienced feeling it. Okay. So write out what it is you want after you have experienced feeling it. So if it's a job and you're like, I actually have no idea what this job is going to be. What do you want to feel when you're on that job, when you're at that job? What do you want that to feel like? Okay. That's going to be key. Same with the relationship, same with whatever it is that you want. Even if it's money that you're needing, like you just need an extra $1,000 or $500 to pay for something. What will it feel like to have that paid off? And once that feeling is clear and really honest, that's when you're going to start to write down what it is that you are wanting to manifest. Okay. Again, we're not going to get stuck in the head. Don't get caught with words and language, feelings. Okay. So as we're visualizing this, again, don't let that mind join in. Okay. There's nothing wrong if it does, but I want that feeling to be like a experience, like, oh my gosh, I just felt like what it felt like to be there. Or, not planting and creating this perfect scene with your mind. Does that make sense? Questions about any of that before we continue? No? Okay. Let me see. All right. So if we go back to, is our daily, I'm going to assume, since I don't have questions yet, that you are still either working on your super sense or you have discovered it. Is your daily practice working? I'm going to assume your daily practice is working. And if it's not working, what do we need to do to change it? Okay. So now, if we have taken those steps, now we're at our foundational go-to. So remember we talked about our foundational go-to, which I kind of touched on a little bit a few minutes ago on when I want you to feel what it is that you're asking for. Remember how I said, if you're asking for a relationship, and if you notice that as soon as you felt that, you experienced dread or fear or anxiety. If you noticed that, then that's your foundational go-to, which means anything that you manifest around that is going to come from those feelings. So if your foundational go-to is that anxiety around this thing that you want, we need to work through that. You work through that by journaling every day. You work through that in meditation, yoga, therapy, talking about it, and working that out. So you get to the point to where when you when you're feeling what it is that you want to manifest or visualizing it, that feeling is now pure and clear and comfortable and love. It's not this dread. And that's something that is so important, because I want to make sure that we're manifesting what's for our highest good and not recreating old patterns. Now, there's nothing wrong with recreating old patterns, because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. So that's all. There's a place for that. But what I'm hoping we can do together is recreate something we want without the old pattern. Okay. So I'm kind of trying to just look and see right now if you guys have questions. Someone's asking what made me become a medium. Thank you for asking that, but I want to kind of stay on topic with manifestation. We're all born with it. I was born with it, and my mom, encouraged it and brought that out of me. There's a quick answer. Okay, so we have our super sense. We're either working on it or we have figured out what it is. That super sense is going to be what will guide us with our feeling of what it is that we want. It's going to help us with that determination to get to where it is that we want. Okay. Is your daily practice working? If your daily practice isn't working, then we gotta fix that. Okay. So, if we need to fix the daily practice, it means we need to make sure that when we come out of our practice every day, we're balanced, okay? And we feel good and we feel clear and we're free of anxiety. What is your foundational go-to? All right, so what is that feeling that if someone said, hey, I've got this opportunity, where do you go? Too excited or too scared or too, what do you mean? What is it? Like, you see what I'm saying? Where do you go? If you go to excitement, let's kind of look at that, because that can also be anxiety kind of covered up in a nervous way. And so we want to make sure that we go to ultimately our goal is to go to a balanced place when someone says something, hey, I have something for you, whatever that something is, right? I'm just using that as a symbolism to help you get to that foundational go-to. So when something positive happens in your life, what is your go-to? Or even if someone says something like, oh, hey, guess what? I'm not going to be able to do this or that. What is your foundational go-to? To get mad at them, to get scared, angry, whatever that is. We need to know that, because we are manifesting off of that. And I don't want you manifesting off of that. I want us to change that foundational go-to to something more balanced. Okay. So now, just because we know what our foundational go-to is, doesn't mean that we'll clear it overnight. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. Okay. All right. So knowing all of those steps, now we go to our ask. We are asking for whatever this is: money, relationship, job. We're feeling this experience first. Okay. We feel that what that feels like to have what it is that you're asking for. What does that feel like? And again, I've talked about visualizing, and visualizing is fine, but I don't want you to start determining with your brain what this will look like, details. We don't want details. We just want to feel what it feels like to have what it is you're asking for. What does that feel like? Okay. And then after you've sat with that, you're going to write it out. After you sat with that, you're going to write it out. And that which you're writing might change. Okay. It may change over time, and it may change each day, and that's okay. Because what I'm trying to help you get to is not, I want money, I need more money, I need a job. Okay. You're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. You're not just here to make money and have a job. That's important, and it's an aspect, but it's not why we're here. So if you're saying to me, I need a job, okay, let's sit down and figure out what that ideal job feels like to you, okay? And why is it that you need this job? I need it to pay rent. Okay, but what else? Are you feeling like you need purpose? Probably. We all are striving for that. So really, again, getting to the bottom of what it is this thing that we want to manifest feels like, being able to articulate it into words, and then being able to simply be with it after we have asked Spirit, just to simply be with it from that point forward. So for these next 7 weeks, 8 weeks, we're going to be with it. We're not going to be asking and begging and asking and begging and writing. We're going to just be with it. So this week, That's all we're doing. Prayer, which is ask, feel, visualize, utilizing that super sense that you have in your daily practice. And then we're going to write it out. This doesn't have to happen in one session. It probably should happen over a period of time. You might find that by next Sunday, you have really, it took you all that time to kind of get there, you know, each day that you were in your visualizing or feeling of it, it changed, it shifted. Great. Because you're getting to the core of what it is you actually want, not what you think you want, and not what you think you're supposed to have or what you think you need, but what you actually, truly, from your core want. I feel like I was a little all over the place. So I want to make sure that I close this out with clarity for you guys. Okay. So your homework this week, if you need to, continue to work on your super sense. If you already know it, great. Is your daily practice working? Beautiful. If it's not, DM me. Let's talk. Do you know what your foundational go-to is? Is it anxiety, fear, loss, concern? Know that. This week is prayer. We're asking. We're first going to feel it. Like I said, if your super sense is seeing and you see this and visualize it, that's perfectly fine. But I need you to feel it as well. So we're going to feel first, and that might take a couple days or a week or a while to feel that. And then you'll articulate it in words. You're not going to be concerned with the words you use or if it makes sense or sounds right. You're just taking that feeling and putting it into words. Okay. So Susan missed the beginning. Let me finish up where I'm at. So those of you that already know can jump off if you're done, and I can just go back really quick. So this week, let's write, let's visualize, let's answer those questions, and regroup on Sunday, and then go to the next step. Any questions, again, DM me. Susan, I'm going to post this so you'll be able to watch it. On YouTube, you typically post the next day, but on Facebook, it should post right away. Okay. So any questions? Any questions regarding manifestation? I see questions, but they're not about manifestation. I want to stay on topic. Anything? Okay. So if we're good, go out. Let's do this. Hi, Michelle. And then let's come back together next Sunday and see how we did. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Actually, stay. Hello. My show's 1:30. Pick a card reading at 1:30. Free questions you can ask. YouTube, Facebook, join me there. For you guys on TikTok and Insta, come to YouTube or Facebook, and I do the free readings and the pick a card readings. So join me there, 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. Okay, bye guys.